Hello, my name is Paul Turner, Social Studies Coordinator at Kansas City Public Schools. Today we're going to talk to you guys about the age of exploration. Why did it happen? Why did it need to happen? And basically, the outcome of it. We're going to go over basically the details of the age of exploration. What you need now, go grab a pencil, go grab some paper so we can talk about it. Alright, in the first part of this lesson, I'm going to discuss with you guys America with exploration. The Vikings were the first group to come here. Basically, we want to talk about the rationale why Europeans had to basically come over to North America and discover this new world. These are going to be our key questions. In the 1400s, there was little communication and trade over long distance, yet today it is hard to imagine a world without these things. How do you think countries benefit through these exchanges? How are these exchanges damaging? How do the restrictions of trade to the Far East help initiate the great age of exploration? So again, I told you guys, the Vikings had knowledge of North America in the 11th century, but there was little incentive basically for westward expansion to 1400s. The Vikings landed right here in Newfoundland. They were there, but they got chased off by the Native American tribes in the basically 11th century. Leif Erikson, that was his group. So with this, these people needed to trade with these people. After the Crusades, Europeans got this huge taste of luxury goods, luxury spices, and they knew that they wanted to keep trading with this group of people. But one thing that was hindering the trade was going through Muslim lands. Huge taxes would be on basically these luxury goods. So these Europeans want to think about a way where they can basically circumvent the Muslim lands to get over to these places like India, basically China, because they want these luxury goods. Think about this. You got a luxury good in your home, like fine china. Guess where it came from? It comes from China, right? So, the Iberian Peninsulas, Portugal and Spain, these guys start thinking, how can we get around not paying these high taxes through these Muslim lands and basically create an opportunity for us to dominate the world? So they got smart about it. So they discovered basically we can sail around basically the world to get over to where we need to get to. Because these spices were good. The Crusades allowed these people to taste these fine spices. They had these luxury goods on their mind. They wanted gold. They wanted chocolate. They wanted all these good things. So how did they get to it without going through these Muslim lands? So they knew if they get to these lands, they had to basically start spreading their religion. Catholicism was huge during this time frame. The Crusades fostered this renewed interest of goods from Asia. Exploration basically motivated long rivalries in European states. And they want to expand their dominance in these areas. So what I do, I teach the 3 G's. We're going to talk, not the 3 G's from what you guys used to, Snoop Dogg, Ice Cube, and Dr. Dre. We're going to talk about the 3 different G's. We're going to talk about gold, God, and glory. Alright? The duty, basically, of a Christian was to spread this religion. Most Europeans still practice mercantilism. What is mercantilism? Basically, it's the wealth of a nation in gold and silver and acquiring colonies to preserve the wealth. So, Europeans, they basically were growing. They were living right on top of each other. So, the population of growth and commercial prosperity and development of powerful nation states led to the age of exploration. The arrival of the age of exploration happened in the 14th and 15th centuries. It's triggered based by demographic and social change. New ships helped explore that, push that to this new age of exploration. The caravel, the kayak, and the flute basically created this. These ships could carry basically goods for long periods. They can carry cattle. They can carry livestock. They're versatile. So, how do we get started on this age of exploration? Prince Henry, he the navigator, organized voyages along the coast of Africa, seeking a water route to Asia. Along that route, he would set up these different forts. So it was the Europeans that actually we're going to say it's the Portuguese that actually started slave trade. As you can see, as they started setting up these different forts, by 1500, Pedro Cabral basically accidentally discovered Brazil. So remember, Brazil is the only Portuguese nation. Let me start that.
It's okay. All right. Let's just start there. Here we go. 3, 2.
All right. So along the coast of Africa, they started building these forts. Remember, the Portuguese started basically the slave trade. Portuguese established these forts on the coast of Africa, as you can see. You have Fort Innis, Fort Dias, basically in 1445. Cal, basically in 1482. Gomez, 1456. Cal, basically in 1486. So we have these different forts. They're setting up these trading ports. So along these forts, they started trading for gold and slaves. So along this coast, you have to understand that this basically set up the Portuguese Empire. So, by 1500, the Portuguese actually touched the New World. This happened by accident with Pedro Cabral. He was actually trying to go all the way over here, but he messed up and went to the New World. Portugal basically only had one possession in the New World, and that's Brazil. Brazil is the only Portuguese-speaking country in the New World. They held on to that possession all the way to the 1890s. So, by accident, they got this huge territory in the New World. As you can see, their focus is on the Old World. They're focused on places like Macau. They're from Calcutta. They're focused on Colombo. They're focused on Mozambique. This is the area that they're focusing on. They're focused on the Old World. While Spain, they wanted to focus on the New World. By 1492, Spain fully funded Columbus's voyages. Basically, it was newly unified Spain eager to compete with Portugal. No longer were they in a civil war, they wanted to compete with Portugal and basically expanded their territory. They knew that they needed to get more ground. They needed to get more territory. Because again, the Iberian Peninsula is a small piece of land compared to the rest of the world. 1499, Amerigo Vespucci mapped and described the New World. The Americas is named after Amerigo Vespucci. His voyages are sponsored by Spain. All these Italians started going to Spain to get their voyages funded. Ferdinand Magellan, sponsored by Spain, he was the first one to circumvent the whole world. By 1494, there was something coming, and the Pope knew it. So what the Pope decided to do, it was orchestrate the Treaty of Societis. Basically, created a line of demarcation and separating the Spanish parts and the Portuguese parts in the world. Again, Portugal, the only thing they wanted was Brazil in the New World. Their focus is on the Old World. And again, that was the biggest doom when it starts to come in with other European competitors to the world. Because guess what? They had to compete with the Dutch, the English, and the Old World. Eventually, they fell off, and basically Spain still had territories in this New World and getting gold and all that stuff sent back to the Old World. So as we keep going into this, we had two questions at the beginning. In the 1400s, there were little communications and trade over long distance, yet it's hard to imagine a world without these things. How do countries benefit from these exchanges? And how are these exchanges damaging? Alright, so this is what we could put. Countries could benefit from international trade by being able to obtain goods and services that were previously unavailable. This allowed for increased communication. People benefit from insights in traditional literature, sciences. Alright, on the negative side, world trade has benefited from exploitation of labor. We're going to talk a lot about slave labor, especially in this new world. Alright? Environmental destructions. Opening new avenues of communication. We can actually talk about how TV and radio basically was a form of exploration into this new world. So to answer our second question, how did the restrictions of trade in the Far East help initiate the Great Age of Exploration? You remember Europeans, upper class, developed this huge chase for these luxury goods, right? On demand, they want existed these luxury items from Asia, spices, jewels, silks, porcelain. But they didn't want to pay the tax to the Italians. They didn't want to pay the tax to the Muslims. So the both the basically Spanish and the Portuguese developed new trade routes. They wanted to bypass those two. They knew that they didn't want to pay those taxes to get all the way to Western Europe. So the Age of Exploration basically helped create this whole new territory, these whole new avenues of new trading cities, new trading ports, new forts throughout the world. They found new trading partners. So now, I want you guys at home. I want you to look in your cabinet. I want you to look at some of your spices from basically what you got in your cabinet and decide. Look and do some research. I want you to look about, see where they came from. How did they get here? How they get here to the United States? Then I want you basically talk. We're going to talk a little bit about this next week, as we start pushing on European incursions in Native American territories. I'm Paul Turner, Social Studies Coordinator. See you guys next week.